Welcome friends and welcome to my channel Sequential Biology. In this video we will discuss about process of oogenesis. And oogenesis is the process which is occurred inside female reproductive organ or the female primary sex organ or ovary, and this ovary is called as gonad, and the ovum are developed by process of oogenesis, and the ovum is also called as gamete. And ovary is a mixed gland, and since it is a mixed gland, so it has two important function, the endocrine function and the exocrine function. Then endocrine function means ovary is responsible for secretion of two female sex organ. One is estrogen and another is progesterone. And this estrogen hormone is responsible for development of different type of sex organ or secondary sex characters, the development of breast and other secondary sex characters. And the progesterone maintain the pregnancy, okay, and this maintain the uterus, and so progesterone is called as pregnancy maintaining hormone. And the exocrine function of the ovary is a release of ovum. So this is the exocrine function of ovary. At 14th day of our menstrual cycle, the ovum is released from ovary by action of an important hormone, gonadotropic hormone, which is known as luteinizing hormone or ovulation inducing hormone. And this released ovum is actually the secondary oocyte. This is not fully developed ovum, but this is secondary oocyte. Actually, the gametogenic role of ovary started during embryonic period, and the endocrine role started just after the puberty. And since the oogenesis process, the ovum are developed, and the gametogenesis process is controlled by meiosis cell division. And first I will give you few basic concept about this meiosis. And the meiosis cell division occurred by two phases. One is meiosis 1 and another is meiosis 2. During time of oogenesis, the two resting phase can be seen. And to understand about this resting phase, you should have concept about the meiosis process. And the meiosis 1, this meiosis 1 is called as reductional division. This is called as reductional division, and the meiosis 2 is also known as equational division. The primordial germ cells undergo the meiosis cell division. Primordial germ cell is a type of stem cell, and this undergo meiosis cell division. And meiosis cell division occurred in two stages, the meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. And meiosis 1 is a reductional division and meiosis 2 is equational division. Suppose there are present a diploid cell. So this is the normal diploid cell, and this diploid cell try to undergo into the meiosis process. The first process is meiosis 1, and by process of meiosis 1, the two haploid cell will be produced, right? And for this reason, the meiosis 1 is known as reductional division. And now the meiosis 2. So this is the meiosis 1, and since the chromosome number become haploid from the diploid state, so meiosis 1 is called the reductional division. So this is reductional division. And after meiosis 1, the meiosis 2 can be seen, and these two haploid cell undergo again the division. So this will produce another two cell. So this is two cell from this cell, and this will also produce another two cell, right? But these cells are haploid. So by process of meiosis, total meiosis cell division, we will get the four cell from a diploid. We will get four haploid cell from a diploid mother cell, or the gametic mother cell. This is also known as gametic mother cell. This is diploid, and from this gametic mother cell we will get the four haploid cell, right? This one have four stage: the prophase, metaphase, so prophase, metaphase, anaphase and telophase. So these are the four stages which can be seen in meiosis 1, and also in meiosis 2 we can find another four stage: the prophase, metaphase, anaphase and telophase, right? So this is prophase, metaphase, anaphase and telophase. And during time of oogenesis, the arrest phase are very important. So in meiosis, the two arrest phase can be seen. The one arrest phase which can be seen during the embryonic period, and this arrest phase is prophase of meiosis 1. Another is metaphase of meiosis 2. So these are the two arrest phase can be seen during oogenesis. This is very important. So this is arrest phase 1, and this is arrest phase 2, right? Process of oogenesis, the primordial germ cells form oogonial cell, and the primordial germ cell is a kind of stem cell. And the stem cell have two important property. One is division and another is differentiation. The primordial germ cells will be differentiated into another kind of cell. The primordial germ cells undergo mitotic division, and this will form the oogonial cell, right? and then this oogonial cell undergo meiosis cell division. So this oogonial cell undergo the meiosis cell division, but this meiosis cell division will be arrested at prophase. Okay, so the meiosis 1 oogonial cell undergo the first meiotic division, but this first meiotic division will be arrested at prophase stage, and by the process of meiosis 1, this oogonial cell will develop or differentiated into a special kind of cell, and which is known as primary oocyte, right? So this is the primary oocyte, and here you can see the primary oocyte are developed during the embryonic period, which can be seen in embryonic period. Then the gametogenic role of the ovary started in embryonic period before birth, right? So this is the embryonic stage, and this primary oocyte are actually developed inside the ovary. And if we see the endocrine role of ovary, suppose this is ovary and this is the primary sex organ or the ovary, and inside this ovary there are present many immature follicle. These are the immature follicle, and during embryonic period inside this immature follicle the primary oocyte are developed, right? So these are the primary oocyte, and after the birth of this daughter or after the birth of the child, and when the child attain the adolescent period, then a special kind of gonadotropic hormone which is known as follicle stimulating hormone acts on this immature follicle. So these are the immature follicle, and then the further development started in this immature follicle, and also the further stages of the oogenesis also proceed in this immature follicle, right? In a menstrual cycle only one follicle will be selected, so there are present a stock of immature follicle, but in each month a particular type of immature follicle will be selected, and this will be developed into a special kind of follicle or the mature follicle, and this mature follicle is known as Graafian follicle. And this Graafian follicle you can find the secondary oocyte, right? In Graafian follicle you can find secondary oocyte. So the primary oocyte undergoes further development inside the immature follicle, and ultimately this will be developed into the secondary oocyte. And during the process of oogenesis we will learn that how this secondary oocyte are developed inside this Graafian follicle. The development of Graafian follicle, another kind of gonadotropic hormone which is known as luteinizing hormone or the ovulation inducing hormone acts on this Graafian follicle, and this will causes the release of this secondary oocyte. So LH hormone or the ovulation hormone acts on the Graafian follicle, and so the ovulation can be seen, and this is the ovulated ovum. Actually this is the secondary oocyte, and this secondary oocyte then released from ovary. Okay, and after ovulation the Graafian follicle, the remaining part of the Graafian follicle form the corpus luteum. Then the two important structure are developed inside ovary during time of menstrual cycle. One is Graafian follicle and another is corpus luteum, and this Graafian follicle is responsible for secretion of special kind of sex hormone which is known as estrogen, and the corpus luteum is responsible for special kind of sex hormone which is known as progesterone. Progesterone is called as pregnancy maintaining hormone, and estrogen actually maintain the different secondary sex characters in female, right? Then here you can notice that this secondary oocyte, the ovulated structure is called as secondary oocyte. This is not fully matured ovum. This primary oocyte will be developed into another two kind of cell, and you know this is, since this is a reductional division, then two type of cell can be formed, and one is very small cell, and this very small cell is known as polar body. So this is the first polar body, and very small cell or the polar body can be formed, and this polar body is also haploid, and another large cell can be formed during this time after completion of the meiosis 1, and this structure is known as secondary oocyte. Okay, and this secondary oocyte again further undergo the meiosis 2 process, but this meiosis 2 process is not completed during this time. Actually this will be arrested at metaphase of meiosis 2. After completion of meiosis 1, the secondary oocyte will be developed, and then this secondary oocyte again undergo the meiosis 2 cell division, and this complete the prophase of meiosis 2, but this will be arrested at metaphase 2 of meiosis 2 cell division. Then if we discuss about the normal process of meiosis cell division, suppose the meiosis 2 cell division have been completed, so this secondary oocyte will be developed again in the two type of cell. The another is a small cell, one type of cell, and one type of cell is very small, and these are known as polar body. So this is the polar body, and ultimately this will leads a mature ovum, right? So this will leads formation to a matured ovum. But the meiosis 2 will be completed only if the spermatozoa fertilize this secondary oocyte, because due to ovulation the secondary oocyte will be released from the ovary, and this secondary oocyte will reside in the ampulla of fallopian tube, and where the sperm reach and this fertilize the secondary oocyte. And due to the entry of the sperm into the secondary oocyte, the meiosis 2 cell division will be completed, so a matured ovum will be developed. And then this fast polar body, what will be fate of this fast polar body? This fast polar body may undergo the second meiotic division or may not. Suppose this undergo the second meiotic division, so this will form another two polar body. Then by process of oogenesis, from the primordial germ cells or the oogonial cell, you can find four type of cell. The three cells are very small, and these are known as polar body. So three polar body will be formed, three polar body, and another is secondary oocyte or the ovum will be formed. Now we will discuss the whole process from our notes. Primordial germ cells, and this primordial germ cells is a special kind of stem cell. That means it have two property, the division and the differentiation. By repeated mitotic division, this primordial germ cells will be developed into the oogonium cell, and this oogonium cell again undergo the mitotic cell division, and then this undergo the meiosis 1 cell division, and this will form the primary oocyte. But this meiosis 1 cell division will be arrested at prophase, right? And this stage of the oogenesis can be seen during the embryonic period, and the total process occurred inside the immature follicle. And during the adolescent period, by the action of follicle stimulating hormone into immature follicle, the completion of the meiosis 1 can be seen, and the onset of the meiosis 2 or the starting of the meiosis 2. And so this primary oocyte undergoes the meiosis 1 cell division, and this will form, or the completion of the meiosis cell division will form the two cell. One is very small cell which is called as the first polar body, and another is very large cell which is called the secondary oocyte. But this secondary oocyte again undergo the meiosis 2 cell division, but this complete the prophase, but it will be arrested at the metaphase of the meiosis 2. And after the sperm entry, the meiosis 2 cell division again will be restarted, and this will causes the completion of the meiosis 2. So this meiosis 2, since it is an equational division, so the two type of cell can be formed. One is second polar body and another is the matured ovum. So this is actually the whole process of oogenesis, and this total process occurs inside ovary, or more precisely you can say this process is occurred inside the follicle. Okay, so it is a special kind of structure which is present in follicle, and this follicle are present inside ovary, and during birth many immature follicle can be found in ovary, and in each month each follicle will be developed into the Graafian follicle. So this is the Graafian follicle or the mature follicle, and you can see inside this Graafian follicle the secondary oocyte are present. And during ovulatory phase, which can be seen at 14th day of our menstrual cycle, this causes the rupturing of this Graafian follicle by action of a special kind of gonadotropic hormone which is known as luteinizing hormone or ovulation inducing hormone, and this causes a release of this secondary oocyte. And the remaining part of the Graafian follicle is called the corpus luteum, and this corpus luteum is responsible for secretion of progesterone, right? Then the gametogenic role of the ovary start in fetus, and the endocrine role established after the puberty. In embryonic ovary, first you can see 1000 to 2000 primordial germ cells, and the rapid proliferation of this primordial germ cells by mitosis, and so by the process of mitosis this primordial germ cells will be developed into the oogonia, and when an embryo attain the 5 month, then in its ovary you can find 7 million of oogonia. And many oogonia enters the meiosis 1 of the prophase, and many undergo the degeneration. And so the meiosis 1 of prophase causes the development of primary oocyte, and this is the first arrest stage. And after then the child will birth, and the 2 million of the oocyte can remain in their immature follicle, and after birth the continuous decline of the oocyte can be seen, and during puberty only 3 lakhs of primary oocyte remain in their ovary, right, or in their immature follicle, and each month the several oocytes stimulated but only one complete the meiosis and ovulate. This immature follicle will be stimulated by a special kind of gonadotropic hormone which is called as follicle stimulating hormone. And in between menarche and the menopause, about 400 to 500 secondary oocyte will be ovulated. So in a female life, 400 to 500 secondary oocyte will be ovulated from ovary. Then these are actually the stage of oogenesis. The primordial germ cells undergo the repeated mitotic division. Ultimately, this will form the oogonia, and this oogonia undergo the meiosis 1, but this oogonia do not complete this meiosis 1 because this remains arrested at the prophase of meiosis 1. So this is called as the first arrest phase. Okay, so remains the meiosis 1 of the prophase. This is called as the first resting phase, and so oogonia will be developed into the primary oocyte, and this primary oocyte again growth, and this causes the well developed primary oocyte. And during the time of adolescent period, the meiosis 1 will be completed. So from this primary oocyte we can found the 2 haploid cell, because meiosis 1 is a reductional division. So this will form the 2 type of cell, the secondary oocyte and the first polocyte or the first polar body. And again this secondary oocyte undergo meiosis cell division, but this will not complete the total phase of the meiosis cell division. Actually this remains arrested at the metaphase 2, right? But when the sperm enters into this secondary oocyte, then the meiosis 2 will be completed. So the secondary oocyte will be developed into a oocyte, and which will be transformed into the functional haploid ovum. And here you can see the 3 polocytes are formed. So by the process of meiosis cell division, you can find the 4 type of cell during the time of oogenesis. The 1 cell will be functional, and the 3 cell will be non-functional, and the 3 cells are known as polocyte or the polar body, and this will be degenerated or this will be died due to the lack of cytoplasm and food. But by the process of spermatogenesis, the 4 functional sperm will be formed, because meiosis cell division is responsible for formation of 4 haploid gamete. But in oogenesis, the 4 haploid cell will be formed, but the 3 cell will be non-functional, and which will be known as polocyte, and the 1 cell will be functional, and which is called as secondary oocyte. And this secondary oocyte will be released from the ovary, and just after the fertilization, this secondary oocyte completes meiosis cell division, meiosis 2 cell division, and ultimately it will be developed into the oocyte, and this oocyte again developed into the functional haploid ovum. Then this is actually the process of oogenesis, and hope you have understand the process of oogenesis, and in next video we will discuss the process of fertilization. So thank you, and that's it.